Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on Compton rapper Slim 400, who was shot and killed last night in Inglewood, California.
We're still waiting for official confirmation, as you just mentioned, but several reports online and social media, as well as TMZ, reporting the victim is a Compton-based up-and-coming rapper who goes by the name Slim 400.
December 8th, 2021, Inglewood police were patrolling a neighborhood near 7th and Manchester. It was 7:50 at night when they heard multiple gunshots and immediately responded to the scene of the shooting. They'd find a man laying on the ground, suffering multiple gunshot wounds as paramedics made their way to the scene, then transporting the victim to the hospital, where he later died. While police have yet to release an identity, the man was identified by social media as 33-year-old Vincent Coran, who's more commonly known as Compton rapper Slim 400. Born in Frankfurt, Germany, where his father was stationed in the military, he'd moved to Compton, California before he turned 1. Growing up on the 400 block of West Spruce Street, he described witnessing shootings and death in interviews as he reflected on his upbringing. Slim would join Treetop Pyru in his early teens as life evolved into full-blown gangbanging. Going to Compton High, a high school in a Crip neighborhood, Slim would find himself outnumbered and constantly in conflict for the next year before switching his address and going to Centennial High, where he was kicked out after clashing with more enemies. Moving with his grandmother, he'd graduate from Morningside High in Inglewood, California. Not long after that, at only 19 years old, Slim would leave his grandmother's Inglewood home and drive through a Crip neighborhood where his car was fired at. The first bullet flew through the driver's side window, striking and exiting his right arm as he held onto the steering wheel. He turned his body as more bullets smacked the vehicle, and one struck him in the back. Able to drive himself to the hospital, the risk of removing the bullet led Slim and his doctors to make the decision to leave it in his body, causing him to have to get x-rays every 6 months to make sure the bullet hadn't moved. Knowing YG before the music, he'd signed to Pushers Inc. early in his career and be featured in YG's 2014 movie, Blame It on the Streets. The following year in 2015, Slim would release Faux Block. Becoming a Compton rapper, the fame only added to the violence as he was now an even bigger target, and in 2019, his enemies would strike again. June 28, 2019, LA County sheriffs were dispatched to the 400 block of West Spruce Street at 8:15 p.m. after reports of an assault with a deadly weapon. Slim had pulled up to his family's house with 2 of his homies in the car. He'd get out and get ambushed as shots started blasting almost immediately. Ducking behind cars and trying to make his way to the house, he fell as his little brother came outside, dragging him inside while gunshots were still erupting. Fading in and out of consciousness and surviving off pure adrenaline, Slim woke up in the hospital to the news he'd been shot 9 times, underwent emergency surgery, and had a fresh zipper scar on his stomach. He'd been shot multiple times in his back shoulder. Bullets had ripped through his stomach. He'd been shot in the left ear, leaving him partially deaf, and another bullet had lodged in his right cheek. The following month, he dropped Shake Back, featuring Young Dolph. The cover showing a grave with Slim 400's name and birth date, with the day he was shot 9 times crossed out. The shooting would only boost his career, as he'd state TMZ paid him $1 million for the first interview after his shooting. Soon after that, he'd be seen on Vlad TV, Nick Cannon's podcast, and a few other YouTube channels detailing what took place. At this time, no suspects have been named or mentioned, and it isn't clear who killed Slim. It's well known he had ties to Inglewood, being that he lived there with his grandmother and was close with the Inglewood family gangster Bloods, a blood set that's recently taken losses in one of many LA gang wars, one of which was the death of Indian Red Boy, who died on Instagram Live. So there's a chance he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, but it's more likely whoever targeted him knew exactly who he was. It's disheartening to know back in 2019 when he was shot 9 times, he was ambushed while visiting family, and the night he was killed, it's rumored he was visiting his father. Now this is a sad one, and it seems that the hip hop community across the country is just taking back-to-back losses. I don't know if it's true that being a rapper is the most dangerous job, or if it's really just being inside of the hip-hop culture, the streets culture, the gang culture, that's what's so deadly. Because you don't really see certain rappers that rap certain ways getting killed. And it's sad when we hear somebody got shot, but in the same breath we're able to say, well, he was doing this. He was affiliated with them. He lived this type of life. It's almost as if we expect it. It just still surprises us when it actually happened. Now, I'm sure more details are going to be coming out soon, as this case really just happened. There's very, very limited details as to what took place. And Slim himself, he was a private person when it came to his family. People will ask, why go back to where you're from if you're such a recognized figure? It ain't easy for everyone to always like fly or drive their people, have their people meet them outside of the city. And a lot of people are prideful. A lot of people don't think that they're gonna be targeted when they return. A lot of people don't think someone's just waiting to get the drop so they can strike. The fact that they've been trying to kill him for so long, you can tell he was in some shit. Similar to the Young Dolph situation. Dolph and Slim knew each other. They made music together. Slim had recently made a video where he was smoking, more or less speaking on Dolph. And you know, Dolph was just killed in a very similar situation back in his hometown. And Dolph had been shot and shot at multiple times before. You know, another thing we only hear inside of the rap and hip hop community is you're banned from this city. You're banned from this city. And it's usually rappers that are beefing. But it seems the only logical thing to do is once you become any form of successful or famous, it's almost like you have to ban yourself from your hometown. You can't go back. As much as you miss it, as much as you love it, look at Chief Keef. Chief Keef is in the position that he's in because he left Chicago, isn't allowed back in Chicago, and stays in LA. And if you look at the people he's been around that have traveled back, they all seem to find themselves in similar violent situations or even getting killed. But blood and peace to Slim 400. It's a fucking tragedy how many people have been killed lately. I mean, a LA police, whatever, detective was literally just on the news saying LA is similar to the Purge. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure what can be done about it, but I send my condolences to the family. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.